This is the Final Word Daily, looking at the test match between England and India women at Bristol. I'm Geoff Lemon, the other guy's Adam Collins, and he is going to describe today, the full day, the full 92 overs in 30 seconds or less.
And just as you intro me, Geoff, the sun's piercing through my eyes, so I'm going to do what I've never done before and put my sunglasses on for this, because otherwise this will be impossible. Right, 30 seconds. England won the toss on a track that looked like you should bat, on a day where you have to bat. Beautiful here at Bristol. They made their way to 86 for 1 by the luncheon interval, 162 for 2. They were in cruise control, 230 for 2 at one stage, but then the spin twins of Deepti, Sharma and Sneh, Rana, they took 3 wickets in quick succession. A collapse of 4 for 21 changed the complexion of the day. Heather Knight out for 95, just 5 runs short of a century. Tammy Beaumont 66 earlier on, 269 for 6 at the close, with Brunt and Dunkley getting them to the finish line without further loss. All told, probably honours even.
Very good. It looked like it was going to be a very painful day for India for a while. They had, Julian Goswami had to bowl a dozen overs in the first session. Not a whole lot was happening with the ball. Catch went down early, and Lauren Winfield came out and smacked a couple of sixes early on, and you don't necessarily see those kind of starts in women's test cricket. Often the players are a bit more nervous, but I liked the fact that she decided, I'm going to take this game on.
Yeah, and look, Lauren Winfield-Hill's been out of the side for a little while now, kind of in and out of the side, I should say, and she needed runs to get herself in. Made a ton in the Rachel Hayhoe-Flint Trophy a couple of weekends ago, made a century. I think it was to England A against England, so kind of the old-fashioned probables versus possibles game, and then that was enough to get her into the 11. And Gigi batted well, didn't she? Gave a chance to the cordon early, put down by Mandana at first slip, but 2 big sixes, both off pace to really assert herself. When she got out, caught in the cordon, should I say caught behind Tanya Bhatia on test debut, taking a lovely catch in front of first slip. It was well and truly against the grain of play. Her and Beaumont were laying not just a foundation, but going at 4 and over. I think she fell when the score was 79 or something like that in the 20th over. So look, from there, Heather Knight did as she does so well, building, chanceless, working the field, such a good cricket brain. She did that with Tammy Beaumont, who I thought Tammy was on today, Geoff. I thought she was going to become the second English woman to make 100 in all 3 formats, until Rana, her first test wicket on debut, she got Beaumont to dance. It was an inside edge onto the pad, and a brilliant diving take by another player on debut, Shefali Verma, who put in the big dive at short leg. I thought she was a fraction deep. On commentary I said as much, and 2 balls later she just got there in the fingertips. Brilliant catch, and that did bring Nat Sciver out to join Knight, and they put on 70 odd as well. They were going on really well, might have put on 90 in fact, but once Knight and Sciver both fell in quick succession, India found a way to work themselves back into the game and did a nice job of it.
Now, I saw a lot of commentary about the brilliant catch. I'm going to put an alternative view and say that it was horrific positioning from a short leg. At the point that ball hits the bat, Shefali Verma is standing almost completely upright. She's come up with the ball, she's standing upright, and her hands were up underneath her chin, and then she had to dive forward from there. It was an excellent effort that she managed to get forward and get her fingertips under the ball, but she had obviously never had to field at short leg before and hadn't been shown how to do it. And they had her out of that position not long afterwards. I think that might have been picked up on, because first Smriti Mandana went back in there, later in the day Poonam Raut was in there, but it was an absolute miracle that Shefali Verma managed to take a catch at short leg. I've never seen anybody in that position standing upright like that with their hands so high.
Well, that's the thing. They started with Poonam Raut in there to the seamers. Then she came out and Verma replaced her. And as soon as you took the catch, Smriti Mandana said, I'll jump in there. And she got hit 5 times by my count, 4 times in the leg and once in the stomach through the course of the afternoon, all with a smile on her face, of course. She loves her cricket, Smriti Mandana. So, that was something we were watching through the day. I suppose, Geoff, that speaks a little bit to not playing much red ball cricket. Yeah. It means that you're not used to fielding in close like that. You would seldom see a short leg in a one-day international. In the case of Shefali Verma, we tried to work it out before the game. She's never played a competitive game of long-form cricket before. Well, by competitive, I mean at the domestic level, because she started her career the year that the BCCI stopped having 2- and 3-day cricket. So, yes, it means that she's still finding her way. But, yeah, I suppose at least she came up with the catch, and that gave them something from the second session. But, yeah, after tea, I mean, leg before wicket, I reckon, in the end, I think there were 3 leg before decisions decisions that went India's way. England challenged all of them, and they lost all of them. They kept the review with Heather Knight because it was just clipping the stumps rather than hitting flush on. But nonetheless, it was an unexpected turn of events with the game going the other way at 2:30 for 2.
You gotta know when to hold 'em, know when to fold 'em. Yeah, they just wanted to take on everything, and it didn't work in the review sense. It did work in the batting sense. So the point where, after Tammy Beaumont had got out, Natalie Sciver came out, and she was proactive. She was aggressive. She went after.
She was good.
She didn't recklessly go after the bowling, but she was looking to score rather than looking to block, which was so nice to see after the way she played in her previous Test match in 2019 when she couldn't get the foot down playing Australia at Taunton, but she did get the foot down this time. She was looking to play through the onside a lot, going back and playing across the line. And I did think watching it, I thought this is how she's scoring, but this is also where she could get out, because if one ball sneaks through that gap and hits her on the pad, she's in trouble. And that's exactly what happened. She played the sweep shot to a really full one and got hit on the toe. So I'm not sure how you review a leg before decision when you've literally been hit on the front of your boot. You kind of, at that point, you know when to fold them.
Yeah, it was almost like the L'Oreal She's Worth It style review, the one we used to talk about with Stuart Broad all those years ago, when Stuart Broad used to appeal all the time and always send them upstairs. Similar energy around that. At 2:30 for 2, I mean, if for whatever reason that's given not out, they're going to drive India into the turf, and it's going to be a real day in the dirt. Maybe 3:30, not 2:69 at the close of play. So I think that might be why they went for it. They were so far ahead of the game at that particular juncture. Less clear why Amy Jones went upstairs, and really, I suppose the one that was just clipping was Heather Knight's, but she was deep in the crease. She just misread a delivery from around the wicket. But Sophia Dunkley on test debut, she's not exactly going to go up to her captain on 95 and say, "Oh, sorry, Skip, that's hitting, you better walk off." So she took the third one. But they do retain that, I should stress that point. But nonetheless, it was an exciting passage of play. When you factor in the fourth wicket that fell, it was 4 for 21 in the space of 50 deliveries from 2:30 for 2. So, yeah, that was where the game took an interesting twist. But I don't feel as though India made the most of it. I don't know what your impression was, Geoff, watching it, but from my vantage point, they had a chance to really turn the screws and get energetic and get up in the face and get the chat going and take the second new ball. They took 9 overs, the 89th overs when they took the second new ball, and it's as though they were creeping towards the finish line. They only got 92 overs in, 8 short of the target, being 100 in a women's test match. And I don't know why they didn't continue with that energy, because that's what got them back into the game just when it did start to drift, when Knight and Sciver were batting so well.
Well, that patch of spin where Deepti Sharma and Rana are bowling together, and it's really starting to work. They're switching over and around the wicket a bit. The best bit of bowling I thought I saw from the day was you had Sneh Rana bowling around the wicket quite a bit for half a dozen overs or so, mostly to Heather Knight to try to cramp her for room, I assume. As soon as Amy Jones came on strike to Rana, she went back over the wicket, turned one in, hit the pad straight in front, and it was a little bit faster. So Jones had been watching her from the non-strikers end, watching her loop them up, and then she got one that skipped on. He sort of skidded on a bit and got some turn, and suddenly, bang, hit in front, and there was a wicket. That was the most street smart piece of bowling that I noticed for the day. But yeah, what isn't street smart is saying you've got a team on the rack to an extent. They've lost a few in a hurry. They're 6 down. They've got the first of their bowlers, sort of euphemistically called an all-rounder for being able to hit a few boundaries in T20 cricket at the crease, and you dawdle instead of getting as many overs in as possible. Surely you want to send down as many deliveries in the day as possible. And it is absolutely astonishing to me that women's cricket gets through an over rate faster than men's cricket largely because the run-ups are shorter and there's usually less dicking around, so to speak, in between deliveries. There were acres of dicking around today. There was a conference between almost every delivery. There were endless chats and discussions, and normally you wouldn't need to take any extra time, but to take the extra half hour and still fall 8 overs short is absolutely insane in this form of the game.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And Mithali Raj has to carry responsibility for that. Endless respect for Mithali Raj and what she's achieved in the game. I hope she walks out there tomorrow and makes 100. Couldn't regard her more highly, but she was the catalyst for a lot of this. She was tweaking the field every ball, as is her prerogative, but there was no running between overs. There was a consultation, as you say, seemingly after every third or fourth delivery. I get tactically she was doing her best, but it didn't have that purpose about it, and it meant that at the end, they only got 27 overs in the first session. Now, remembering with a 100 over day for women's test cricket, you should be getting in 33 or 34. Geoff, in all of the women's test cricket that I've seen and you've seen, that would tally 4 or 5 of them now. I've never seen them not get the overs in with the extra half an hour. But today they missed out by a mile. And I think that's part of the conversation that helped England just have a bit of breathing space. The insurance policy of Georgia Elwes came and went. Amy Jones in great nick came and went. They lose Knight, who batted so well unexpectedly. They lose Sciver after that big partnership. That is the time to strike. Catherine Brunt's walking in to join a debutante who is yet to face more than maybe half a dozen deliveries at that particular juncture. That's when you've got to put the foot down, and the body language and the energy needs to be all about trying to push through and continue the collapse. And all told, it felt anything like that in the last half an hour. It drifted to the finish line, and it didn't need to be that way.
And the other part being that the field was still set back during that last period of play. There were boundary
3 out
riders
the whole time.
There wasn't pressure on those batters, and also the very quick bowling changes. There were a lot of times that bowlers would come on for a couple of overs and then be switched around more like it would be in T20 cricket. The bewildering part of Jhulan Goswami coming on after the 80th over, bowling 1 over with the old ball, 1 over with the new ball, and then being dragged. None of it made any sense whatsoever, and it just felt like at the end of the day, maybe Mithali was just tired by the end of the day and needed to go and put an ice compress on her head or something, but it was frustrating.
I think they were all tired, right? They're 38 years of age in the case of the two veterans, Mithali and Jhulan Goswami. But Goswami comes back on, and after her first over, we could hear through the earpiece Sue Redfern saying, you can take the second new ball, right? And look, I'm not saying that Mithali Raj didn't know that, but that was exactly when they called for the second new ball. I mean, I suppose you'd call it, is it correlation or causation? Who's to know?
I think they were just embarrassed into it by the fact that Sue Redfern had said it. I genuinely I think that Jhulan Goswami wanted an over with the old ball in order to, because she would have felt pretty stiff and sore, in order to make sure she wasn't going to waste it by just spraying them down the leg side. In the end, she did that anyway with the new ball and did spray them down the leg side, but I was still pretty surprised to see her get dragged. Thanks, champ, out of the attack. Let's get Shikha Pandey back in, who, by the way, had only bowled 10 overs for the day at that point. It was all getting a little bit weird. I did like them keeping the spinners on. I liked Mithali keeping the spinners on once they hit the 80th over instead of just going to the new ball immediately, because the spinners had been the ones taking the wickets. And it worked. They picked up another wicket after the 80th over. They got Georgia Elwes after the 80th over with a little catch, an excellent catch from Deepti Sharma, I've got to say as well, at first slip. Low, hard, quick, and we saw a couple of pretty simple catches go down today, and also one at short leg that Shafali Verma didn't get to that she might have been able to if she'd been awake to it. But that catch was brilliant, and that really helped press home the advantage. But I guess, this score's probably enough for England. If they get anywhere near 300, that's probably enough, and maybe it's in their interest to get bowled out whilst swinging for some runs tomorrow rather than to keep batting for another couple of sessions.
Completely agree. I think that needs to be the attitude when they walk out there tomorrow. Sophia Dunkley can hit the long ball. She's in great nick. And Catherine Brunt, look, if that's not what she's going to do in the morning, then, get Sophie Eccleston to come in and do it for her. She will, is my point here. She will come out tomorrow with that kind of purpose because, unfortunately, this game will be affected by rain. Hard to imagine it won't be. So the sooner that England, with a score on the board, can start contributing to the 20 wickets they need to win the Test match, the better. That's my thoughts anyway.
Right. So we've got to pick a player of the day and what goes into the Hall of Fame. We need to think about cricket bats for 10 seconds before that. Back in a sec.
Woodstock Cricket, home of the finest handmade cricket bats and soft goods. Visit either our showroom or workshop and experience the magic for yourselves. For bookings, contact info@woodstockcricket.co.uk.
It's the final word daily on the test between England women and India women at Bristol. Player of the day, your suggestions, Adam. I'm guessing that Rana's going to get a gong from you.
I just love the Rana story. Look, it would have been easy to play Purnam Yadav or Ekta Bitch, who moving it away from the right-hander. That's the logical thing to do. Ekta's had a fantastic domestic season, bowled well in Test cricket in England before, albeit many moons ago. It's been 2,400 days since their last Test match. India, hard to imagine. But nevertheless, and Purnam Yadav, who's on one of the high-level A contracts, but they overlooked both of them in favour of a second off-spinner to bowl alongside Deepti Sharma. It took us by surprise. But, yeah, great story. Led all comers in the domestic cricket in India last season. Hasn't played for India for 5 full years. And she's dedicated her comeback to her late father, who passed away a couple of months ago. And I think she bowled exceptionally well today, with flight especially. And also she gave the occasional ball a rip. I think she out-bowled Deepti Sharma, and she certainly showed why she's in the team with her 3 wickets.
Yeah, shape and flight. And one thing I didn't mention earlier with the Beaumont wicket is that, you know, she'd almost had her caught at short leg the previous over, and it was both of those times were down to Tammy Beaumont not reading the length of the ball. Both times she came down the wicket, and both times she was done in the air. If you're a spinner and you're doing players in the air, you're doing something right, because the ball dipped on her more sharply than she expected, and so it reached her at a sort of height where it made it difficult to keep down, and she inside edged into pad on both occasions. So, you know, really good pieces of bowling there. I would nominate Tanya Bhatia, actually, because she did the job she had to do for the quicks. She took the catch she needed to take, but she was excellent up to the spinners. There were some ragged deliveries, there were some balls that were going between the batter's legs and being squeezed out or skipping down leg side, and she was all over it. I don't think I saw her make a single mistake all day, and I just thought her concentration and her cleanness with the gloves on Test debut, as you say, not normally something you have to do is do it for 90 plus overs. You do it for 50 and then you're done for the day. So I thought she should get a mention.
Yeah, quite reasonable. Of course, Heather Knight making 95 and Tammy Beaumont 66, both passing 50 and desperate for Test tons. They both spoke about it in the lead-up. Knight has one back in 2013, of course, but nonetheless, they both made the most important contributions with the bat. But yeah, in a way, I'm happy with our selections there for Player of the Day. What about Hall of Fame? In fact, I'll go first. Okay. I'm going to pop Sue Redfern in the Hall of Fame, Geoff. Look, it's reasonable to say that you and I haven't been her biggest fan historically. We may have said things on the final word about decision-making processes in the past. She had a blinder today, officiating in a Test match for the first time. She got everything right, including trying to hurry up Mithali Raj a number of times. And I like that bit at the end, how she told her the second new ball was due. But 3 LBs, bang on the money. And even the one that she gave not out towards the close of play when Shikhar Pandey got one to hoop back at Sophia Dunkley and trapped her with what looked like a good shout, but identified the inside edge. That's fantastic umpiring from Sue Redfern. Let's hope she can keep it up for the next 3 days because, we want to see women, as Ebony said on our coverage, we want to see women in every part of the game reaching the top level. And I think I'm right in saying this is the first time a woman has stood in a Test match as an umpire. So that's another important landmark today and an important box ticked. And it's right that it's Sue Redfern who's had such a long and important career behind the stumps.
And I really liked her chat with the players. You know, she's more chatty than other umpires might be when she's telling them what's going on, giving them guard, all the rest of it. Just a little fraction more, a little more. Yeah, just a tiny fraction there. That's off stump. You know, I liked it. It made me feel at home. Thanks, Sue. I'd have to go back and nominate Shafali Verma's starting point for short leg. Go back and have another look at it with that in mind. It is incredible theatre. I know she's 17. I know she hasn't had to do the job before. And she also pulled off a blinding save at a point late in the day where Sophia Dunkley cracked a cut shot and Shafali went flying across and made sure there was no run from it. So, you know, she does have the goods to do some stuff in the field. But, yeah, I'll always have that moment. I think that's it for today. We're done, aren't we?
I think we are, Geoff. Looking forward to doing it all again tomorrow.
It's the Final Word Daily. Geoff Lemon and Adam Collins will be back for day 2 and then on into the World Test Championship. Thanks for watching.